first skill you need to learn is the rhythm of the breath. This is what most people who start swimming get wrong and causes them to panic or feel distress. In every stroke, you have to take a quick breath and hold it. But let's start with freestyle, since it's the most popular of the strokes. Some people teach slowly releasing the air through your nose while your head is underwater. I don't like this approach for two reasons. Here, do this with me. Take a quick breath in, and then start exhaling slowly for as long as you can. If you didn't last for at least 8 seconds while calmly watching this video, you won't last 2 seconds while swimming. Slowly exhaling is a useful skill for singers, but not for beginner swimmers. Now, follow along my breathing pattern while I swim freestyle, breathing every 3 strokes. Ready? Notice how I first exhale through my nose a little and then through my mouth. Then I take a quick breath through my mouth and hold it until the next exhale. You might have gotten a little dizzy just doing that, but that's because you aren't exercising and you started breathing as if you were. Now that you've mastered the rhythm of the skill of quick breaths, the second skill to master is timing. This is where starting to exhale through your nose is important. When you rotate your head to breathe, there is inevitably a little bit of water in your nose, which can get deeper if you don't exhale a little bit through your nose first. Once that's cleared, exhale through your mouth as you rotate your head. Then, as soon as you feel you're exhaling out of the water, take a quick breath and bring your head back down. The third skill you need to master is horizontal balance. To breathe properly, you need to be horizontal in the water and very close to the surface. The second reason I don't like to teach exhaling slowly in the water is because it decreases your floatability and you sink deeper. As you know, bubbles float, and if your lungs are full, you will float too. But your lower body doesn't have lungs with air, so they naturally sink. To fix this, you don't need strength or effort. You need balance. Developing balance takes time, but we can shorten that time with these drills. Grab the wall and kick fast. Feel how the hips go up. That's good, but you don't need to kick that fast for the legs and the hips to go up. Gradually start slowing down your kick, but try maintaining the hips up. You might feel like you're pushing your upper body down with your hands, and that's good. Now kick in a Superman position like this while pushing your chest down. You can do this face up too, and then do it sideways with one arm down. Once you're kicking sideways and very close to the surface, the next skill you need to focus on is rotation. If you watch closely, I don't turn my head too much to breathe. I rotate my whole body, or at least the upper body. The head here is in a much easier place to just take a quick breath. So while you're kicking sideways, take your head out a little with one ear still touching the water and take a quick breath. Do one stroke to rotate to the other side and take another quick breath. The repetition of these drills is important because we naturally tend to go back to our sinking legs and our messed up breathing patterns. Even the best swimmers in the world still do balancing drills and focus on their breathing patterns very often. To help you swim faster, we will go over 3 small details of freestyle kick that can make a big difference. Form, tempo, transition. The form of your freestyle kick will determine how fast you can move. To have a very effective kick, you need to have amazing ankle flexibility. The more you have, the less drag you will create. And the opposite is true. Just look how I don't move with my ankles like this. Also, the knees need to be a little bent while going down and straight while going up. To do this, you need to relax your hamstrings and activate your quads while the leg goes down. And while it is going up, activate your glutes, hamstrings, and calves. I've After you learn to have a good form when kicking, you need to perfect the tempo of your kick. This can vary depending on the distance you are swimming, but the most common tempo is 6 kicks for every 2 strokes. That is 3 kicks with one leg, while one arm does 1 stroke cycle. The timing of the kicks is very important too. Because of the rotation and the movement of the muscles in your core, it is better if the right leg goes down when the left arm enters the water. While it is gliding, you do another kick and use that momentum to start the pool while the leg comes down again. When you swim freestyle, the most effective thing you can do after the turn is to do several dolphin or butterfly underwater kicks. This carries the speed of your push. But the problem most people have is that they lose the speed in the transition from underwater kicks to freestyle kicks. The first few freestyle kicks are very important. They need to be fast and they need to start before the arms start moving.
A lot of beginners have troubles floating in the water because they think they're not buoyant enough, or their legs sink, or they let out too much air. So we're going to be addressing many of the common problems beginners have with floating. First problem, many people find their legs sinking. Well, one of the reasons your legs sink is because your leg muscles are quite heavy. In fact, they're very dense and they're going to sink naturally. The best way to keep them up is not to just pull them up to the surface. It's not necessarily to engage your core. It's actually to just flutter with your feet just a little bit of light kicking in the water will keep your feet up. Watch closely. When I'm floating like this, if I let my legs do nothing, they're going to sink, okay? Now, if I kick just a little bit, I can keep them back up at the surface, nice and easy. Super simple, just a little bit of flutter. You might end up traveling in the water too, that's fine, that's okay, but if you're just kicking just a little bit, it'll help keep your feet near the surface. If you want to move in the water, nice and easy, faster flutters. That's all you have to do. Now, the next reason people tend to sink in the water when they're floating is their head position is too high. Your head is like the steering wheel of a car. Wherever your head turns, your body follows. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. If I were to pick my head up in the water, I will naturally sink. So what I gotta do is I gotta tilt my head back. I gotta keep my chin up, my forehead back. I might even feel a little bit of water trickling over my forehead. That's a good thing. Watch closely. My chin is up, my forehead is back in the water. It allows my body to float nicely on the surface. As soon as I pick my head up to look around, I'm gonna start sinking. And I gotta keep my chin back again. My forehead back, chin up, kicking just a little bit, and that helps me float nice and easy. Now, the next reason people tend to sink in the water is because they let out too much air. Your lungs are like air balloons. They help you float in the water. If you let out too much of your air, you're gonna sink like a rock. You gotta keep your lungs kind of full of air. Now, you also have to be able to breathe. So, keep your lungs about 3/4 to a full tank full at all times. If you let out air, don't let it out below about half. All right, keep your tank, keep your air, keep your lungs at least half full or more at all times. So when I breathe, I'm only gonna let out a little bit of air. I'm not gonna go blow out all my air because then I'm gonna sink. Instead, I'm gonna keep my lungs full of air and only let out a little bit. Watch. My lungs are keeping me at the surface. If I blow out, I'm gonna sink. So, the last reason people tend to sink in the water is because they don't have enough surface area. They kind of scrunch their body up, tense their muscles a little bit, and that causes them to sink. So you gotta spread yourself out over the water so you have a lot of surface area, okay? Watch closely. If I have my arms, legs in like this, or arms like this, it's gonna cause my body to sink a little bit. If I were to spread my arms out a little bit here, that's gonna make it a lot easier to float, see that? If I have my legs spread apart, it's a little bit easier to float, but it's okay if they come in more so than your arms. As soon as your arms come in, it's gonna be a little bit harder, so keep your arms and legs spread out. So, the 4 things that are gonna keep you near the surface. Chin up, forehead back. A little bit of kicking. Lungs full of air, surface area. Watch. Chin up, forehead back, little bit of kicking, surface area, lungs full of air. I'm floating. I could do this for hours if I had to. If I'm in trouble out in the sea or a lake or an ocean or a river or even in a pool, I could float like this for hours if I had to. It's a life-saving skill, and that is how you float.
There are 4 competitive swimming strokes. These include breaststroke, backstroke, butterfly and freestyle. We're going to take a look at the different styles so you can find the right one for you. Breaststroke. This basic stroke is great for beginners, making it one of the most popular styles. Your legs and arms perform the same motion, making it much simpler to learn. Your head remains above the water. This gives you fantastic visibility while avoiding breathing issues. More advanced versions of this technique include submerging your head under the water. However, the breaststroke is the slowest and less efficient of all the 4 styles. Backstroke. Backstroke is the next advancement from the breaststroke. Swimming on your back, the legs kick up and down in a flutter movement, while your arms execute alternating movements. Swimming on your back means it's easier to breathe and it's great for long distance swimming. Backstroke is recommended for swimmers with back problems as it works the lower back muscles. It even improves your posture and tightens your core. While starting out, it takes practice finding your balance and to be aware of your surroundings. Butterfly. The butterfly is known as the most unique style. The technique uses a wave-like body undulation to propel yourself through the water. As the stroke requires the legs to move as one, it works out the legs and the bum. This is faster than the previous 2 styles. It also strengthens the core muscles, which are vital to a swimmer's power in the water. However, despite being a fast stroke, it can be tiring and difficult to learn, but it is well worth the effort. Freestyle. The freestyle is swum on the stomach. The feet perform a flutter kick technique as your arms rotate in alternate motion. This is the fastest stroke on this list. That's why it's very popular in swimming competitions. It's also perfect for long distance swimming as it enables you to cover long distances. Like the butterfly, it can be difficult to master. Another issue is that the face is submerged in the water between breaths, but the benefits vastly outweigh the shortcomings.